Hello, Daneel Rossouw, Functional Lead Nedbank Agriculture, and it's my privilege this morning to speak to Puttergill, who's the founder of The Bee Effect, and also been partnering with Nedbank for the last 2 years in various projects. Welcome, and it's really a privilege to talk to you. We know the importance of sustainability in agriculture, and especially conservation of our natural resources and such. But I want to chat to you around bees specifically, the role that bees play in the whole sustainability within the agri sector. Just your insights, and why is it so important to protect, especially the habitat of
the honeybees
bees for pollination purposes.
Okay, well, I think there's two elements to that question. One is why is sustainability important to agriculture, and the other is why are honeybees important to biodiversity. So if I go, I've forgotten what I was about to say, will you remind me? So I think the importance of the honeybee sustainability to agriculture is really directly linked to our demand for food and to food security. So as our population increases, our demand for food increases, and so our demand on honeybees for pollination increases. Without those elements speaking to each other, we will have a shortfall in quality, quantity, and type of foodstuffs. So on that level, in terms of agriculture, I think that's where that key element sits. In terms of biodiversity, that's a wonderful broad subject, and I think I like to see the honeybee as the champion of all pollinators. So it's not just about the honeybee when we talk about our greater landscapes, it's about the birds, the bees, and the butterflies too.
Yeah.
And I think the honeybee really encapsulates and captures our imagination around why it's so important to look after our different biodiversity corridors and our ecosystems, which is why I think it's amazing that farmers are taking such a great interest in developing these conservation corridors in our projects that we're doing together.
Yeah, but on that topic, what do you think the role that corporates, banks like us, and other role players in the corporate environment can play to support you? In terms of what you want to do.
More money, love. No, but to be quite serious, I think that banks, I like to see banking and banking brands as the champions of tradition and stability and security in societies. And I think that when a bank like yourselves, for example, participates in projects together with the NGOs, it really does give impetus to what those different initiatives are doing. And I think it's important that banks involve themselves really actively in any element to do with environmental conservation or regeneration. It stands to reason. One's charting for the investment in the future. If there's no future, there's nothing to invest in. So to my mind, that's another reason why I absolutely love Nedbank, because you've been doing this for decades already, long before everyone jumped on the bandwagon. So I kind of see Nedbank as a champion of the environmental cause, and definitely the green bank.
Yeah, I think from my side, if you look at sustainability, I always talk about the 3 legs. And then if you look at the honeybee and the economy around that, it fits perfectly into that. Where you look at the first leg of sustainability is financial sustainability.
Yeah.
So our farmers need to be sustainable in terms of the financial side of their business. The second one is also the natural resources, the protection of natural resources in terms of sustainability. And the third one, that's actually for me most important, is the social responsibility. And that is for me, how do you care for things around you? Do you care about the environment? Do you care about the bees? Do you care about your workers and so forth? And I think, if you look at it holistically, I think what we as a team of within a partnership do is actually focusing on all 3.
We've got the plugins going on all elements, from education through to actually doing the planting and the biodiversity corridor management, right through it's follows, I would like to call it a value chain in sustainability.
Correct, yeah.
You
And I
know?
think you've touched on one thing that perhaps we haven't chatted about, and that one is education. You know, how do we educate our farmers, but also the rest of society, you know, to care more? And I know that you're also involved in a number of projects around training. Just
Yes, with the WWF and yourself and the Green Trust, we've done some amazing educational booklets on honeybees and different biodiversity-linked issues. But I think again it comes back to that question you asked me earlier about what role does a bank play in that? You know, when you take a bank that gets involved in this, it gives impetus to everyone to actually pay attention. And I think that's the most amazing role that banks and big brands are playing in the story. I think that without big brands getting behind environmental causes and environmental initiatives, they would take so much longer.
yeah.
And we're on a deadline now. It's regeneration time.
So one important aspect that you mentioned just now, but we haven't touched on it really and discussed it, is around education. You know, what do we do in terms of education for the farmers, for the communities, and even us, you know,
In a
the
greater
corporate
picture of
environment,
it.
around education, not just sustainability, but the importance of bees in the whole production process, and actually for me, a stabilizing factor in the economy within agriculture.
Absolutely, absolutely. But you know, it's amazing. It's everyone knows the story, and I think but you know, when we talk about education, we're doing some amazing education stuff, as you know, together. We really are. We're keeping the bee buzz energy flowing, and it's keeping bees at top of mind awareness, you know, and we can drive so much awareness on a continued basis. But that education, my experience, if I have to talk from my own experiences, is that as I've watched people recognize the threat to their own lives through the loss of honeybees and the potential threat to their own food security, it's suddenly like they've started listening to the dialogue, and now they actually want to hear the dialogue. And I think that comes back to, you were saying a little bit earlier in one of our discussions that actually the time is not now to look at almost offsetting. We need to start with that regeneration cycle and really start making changes happen now, because we don't have the luxury of time. And these are difficult issues we face in agriculture. You know, one doesn't want to be beset upon with these huge changes that need to happen in farming techniques and styles. But the reality is the conversations have to start happening because they are upon us, you know. Yeah. And I feel deeply for the farmers, because this is not, you know, this is a long history, and overnight there are new things, there are new techniques, new tools and new demands from the consumer, which is very much driving that change as well. So I like to think that the education we offer is not, from the Bee Effect's point of view, I can't be as authoritative as, say, a science-based environment. But I like to say that we provide the security that actually this new future is not so hard.
Yeah.
You know, it's right there. We've just got to jump over the ledge and it'll be okay. And I think that's the role we need to play, is this positive effect on the future for agriculture.
Yeah. If you look at our theme for Nampo Cape, you know, the future of agriculture is already here.
Absolutely.
And it's actually scary to some extent as well. You know, the actions that we do today, the impact that it will have on future generations. So it is really up to us to ensure a sustainable agricultural sector.
Future, yeah. And I find it, I worry in certain ways, the demands that are coming so quickly, like if you look at the border adjustment taxes that are coming in, these are going to have a direct impact on how farmers survive or don't survive, you know, and do they have the timelines to meet those demands? So there are so many pressures on them that I think that any resource that can help them and feed our system collectively which is the projects that we do together amongst other collaborations. I think this is doing amazing work. You know, kudos to Nedbank, kudos to the Bee Effect, Will and Sela, Nux, you know, all our partners, Top Fruits, you know.
Yeah, I think to finish off the word that you used now, partnerships, because it is
Yeah.
all about partnership. You
Absolutely.
can't do it alone.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So, but thanks for
Yeah.
your time, and it was really nice to talk to you again. And
Somo yak.
all the best for the Bee Effect and our partnership.
Thank you.
We
Very
need to
much.
cherish that. And
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Daneel.